Hi everyone, welcome back to the Old Emo Dave channel. This is me, Old Emo Dave, and today, as well as on camera, I have 11's MTG with me, aka Scott. How you doing, Scott? You doing alright?
Yeah, I'm alive, just about. I'm here.
Just about here, and we're covering a recent game from some of our standard FNM, where you're playing a bit of a spicy Mardu Pixie list against our resident aggro expert Vito, playing Gruul Aggro. Talk us through your thinking, Scott. Why was this list a choice tonight?
I saw it at one of the RCs, one of the American RCs. I thought, that looks interesting. I'll give it a go. I'd heard it spoken about on the Jerry T podcast, and I assume Jerry is right with most of his Magic opinions. Turns out, in some ways, he was with this deck, but it was a learning experience.
So other than the obvious add-in of Corey Steelcutter, because if you're playing red, why aren't you playing it? Is there any other additions to the usual Pixie shell here that we need to look out for?
Yeah, so Fear of Missing Out is the other red card, which Delirium's a bit tricky with this deck, but just having another thing that you can play, sometimes it gives you a bit of card advantage, is good. Overlord of the Bellmerk as well, which is quite good, but maybe not what I want to be doing right now in Standard.
Absolutely, yeah. And the big thing about the Gruul list, they do have a little bit of catch-up mechanic with having access to Questing Druid to do a bit of impulsing off the top. But also they do still have the Mice package and getting in with Emberheart Challenger there. Basically, Vito's on the plan of burn you down before you control the game.
Yeah, Hopeless Nightmare taking a card away is valuable, except Vito can obviously kill me out of nowhere quite quickly. These matchups are weirdly, a large amount of it is about racing.
Yeah, and the Tears of Light Shatter coming in there is actually quite a impactful card that's also hit aggro decks as well as Oculus. And you didn't seem so happy about just nakedly playing Corey Steelcutter there on turn 2. You like to put a little bit more synergy and get the monk out, don't you? Whenever you want to see that card hit the board.
Yeah, I was a little scared of what Vito was going to do to me with 3 mana available and me having absolutely no defenses. But Vito discarding 2 Sentinels because he actually doesn't have green mana at the minute.
No.
But Tears of Light Shatter, really impressive addition to these red aggro decks. It's rare that you'll see it actually do something. Like, aside from rummaging, it very rarely triggers on the attack. But I'm doing the Pixie thing.
The Pixie thing, and this is the big swing that you see now. You know, this is essentially you can play these cards 3 times. You pick one up, play one again, and you get your monks out. Plenty of monks will hit the field before you know it, and there's not much trample here natively in these aggro decks. Obviously, other than Monstrous Rage coming in, but with quite a few pieces in the way, and yeah, you've got the pieces to sacrifice to torch the tower. So by goes the scary 3/3, and the game seems to be swinging in your direction.
Yeah, I wasn't super happy about losing the Hopeless Nightmare to that because it was, at this point, the only piece I had to keep picking up with the Pixie effects. But getting rid of the Tersa was worth it. A 3/3 was bigger than both of my creatures. I didn't want to have to be double blocking and risk just outright losing to a Monstrous Rage.
And what's really strong, though, of you still doing that with the Torch the Tower is that fact that you're still triggering the Hopeless Nightmare ability to still scry, because it just leaves the battlefield, right? So like that also gives like the extra value, as well as an additional scry if you kill a thing off the Torch the Tower. So, really sculpting your next couple of draws.
Yeah, I think I went 1 top, 1 bottom, and then scry 1 off the Torch of the Tower, which happens after I scryed to the top again. So I was at least vaguely happy about that. Torch the Tower, kills the Pixie, and lets Vito get him for 3. So I am under the gun a little bit here.
Yeah, you do need to be able to turn the corner, because Vito just needs to attack with one thing and have lots of pump, and suddenly they do just take it down. Lots of mana to your disposal though, and just that one creature, anything like Nowhere to Run here would be really good. You'd take another bit of hand hate as well. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But we get a Spiteful Hex Mage. interesting card. Also interesting, its downside with all the rest of this deck can just be passed on. So, you can attach it to a monk, you can attach it to a pixie, and it's not even that bad of a downside. And also it's an upside when you can use it to bargain your Torch the Tower and take the lead.
Yeah, so I was actually really impressed with Spiteful Hexmage in this deck. It's an optimistic scavenger deck, so you care a lot more about having more of those cheaper enchantments, of which Spiteful Hexmage technically is a 1-cost enchantment that has relevant text. So between that, Corey Steelcutter, you are more aggressively leaning. So that's, I think, what attracted me to the deck, was it's a pixie deck that can actually kill its opponents, rather than just hoping that you can bounce the Hopeless Nightmare an extra 3 times and trying to get there with that.
Yeah, it's like the Abzan versions that are being played right now, isn't it? They are just a hand-hate dot deck where you just try to stop them from doing anything, and eventually they've got nothing left, so you win. But, like, you can actually be a bit more proactive and kill with this Mardu version. And Vito's keeping pace and, still pulling creatures onto the board. But fear of missing out is going to mean you're going to have some big attack turns in the upcoming turns.
Yeah, this is sort of when I've started wresting control of the board, where I've triggered the Corey multiple times. I have a Thinker Prowess trigger on the existing monks. I think, yeah, that is another Hopeless Nightmare sitting underneath Fear of Missing Out that I played. So a reasonably large attack here when Vito is down to 7. I've got the Fear of Missing Out sitting back on blocks. Vito not blocking with the Manifold Mouse made me really scared.
You get worried of these mice packages, don't you? Like, it's like how high and fast can they go? Because 8 is not that much. They can, and you've got 4 mana to play with. So, but luckily they're not. This isn't the prowess creature, right? The Manifold Mouse is like a fantastic enabler, but on its own is just a 1/2 that, yes, can gain double strike and/or trample, but you're gonna need a lot more help. Vito is not a slow player, so taking a look at what could possibly happen, only had a talent in hand, as we're gonna go to sideboarding for game 1 and share a word from our sponsor.
Hey, this is me, Old Demo Dave. The main channel is here. Go follow that. That's where we do lots more MTG content. I'm glad you're here, and don't forget, you can pick up a bulk box with a code that is in the description. If you want to not have this whole mess on your table, you can get a bulk box. Store your Magic cards. Let me show you mine. This is my bulk box, stickers and all. It's over 2 years old. It sits literally next to a tumble dryer. All my cards are in perfect condition. There is the best solution to tidy up a room so that you no longer have any mess anywhere. Get your bulk box today. Enjoy the next part of the video. Yeah, and don't forget, main channel is here.
And we're back for game 2. Sideboard all happened. Scott, would you bought anything in from your bulk box?
Just removal, anything that I can find, really. I did actually have a spicy one of Screaming Nemesis in the sideboard that is really, really good in the red aggro mirrors. We'll say it that way, where we aren't the same deck. We're not particularly close, but we are both red aggressive decks relying on things like Torch the Tower as removal.
Yeah, like it's still remained a fantastically good card, isn't it? The Screaming Nemesis. The fact that it's just an aggro 3/3 that will ping you for 3 if you kill it, and it's just so good. And you've had possibly like the best start. Hopeless Nightmare in, or Torch the Tower in a Heartfire Hero is a great start. And then Hopeless Nightmare in, and then picking it up with a Pixie. I don't think there's a turn 1 into 2 that you would have wanted to see more, if I'm totally honest.
The Caves of Koilos could have been a concealed courtyard, saving me a point of life, but that's about it.
So it was like a 9.2 out of 10 of a turn, rather than the actual full 10 out of 10. I get it, I see it. The Manifold Mouse becomes scary. Dealing with this quickly would be really on point, because, just dropping another Heartfire Hero. Imagine if you hadn't have had that Torch the Tower, it would have gone Heartfire Hero into Manifold Mouse, and they would have been to the races. But Yeah, considering your moves here, looking well, there was removal mana tapped. But are you looking to deal with this Manifold Mouse and hang around, or are you looking to put the aggro down?
I mean, in a way, looking to put the aggro down. As I said, these matches are a race by and large, where we can both draw live off the top of our deck and do a lot of work with that. In terms of options, the deck is very decision heavy. You've basically got 7 decisions if you've got 7 cards available, sometimes more, because you can Pixie pick something else up. You could, where do you put the cursed roll? There's a lot that goes on with maneuvering around these Pixie turns. So
talk about maneuvering.
I actually really like the aggressive play here. People might think that's overly aggressive from Vito, but he's played against Pixie a lot. Ordinarily, Pixie really struggles to deal with a 4 toughness creature, but I was sandbagging a momentum breaker ready for a Sentinel of the Nameless City, or a 4 toughness Screaming Nemesis. So ordinarily, that's really, really good from Vito, and that's really heads up to just slam the Monstrous Rage on it and go, yeah, I'm not going to lose this to a nowhere to run. You need something specific out of this. And unfortunately for him, I did have the specific answer, but it's only a 2 of in the deck. You can argue I got lucky. Probably did, but I did also sandbag it. In the first game I saw Tersa, I saw Sentinel, Nameless City. I knew what I had to answer with what, but I did get fortunate.
And that's not a bad top deck. Dropping the Screaming Nemesis, ready to go. But there's going to need to be a lot held back here to save Vito in this situation.
Yeah, Sunpearl Kirin's basically the perfect card to be flashing in on end step, where I can kill the Screaming Nemesis and present 4 power. But Vito had a Monstrous Rage to act as a protection spell, but unfortunately is still dead to 4 damage in the air. It
is, and that is pretty much efficient pieces of cardboard taking down the game. A real quick 2-0 there. Some great sideboarding, Scott, there to be able to handle the aggression. Kudos to you. Is this deck something you're going to keep rocking for a while, or
I wish it was a sideboard decision, mate, but the 2 momentum breakers are main board. Is something that I'll keep in my pocket. So what Jerry spoke about on the podcast, and what I also felt, was Overlord of the Baelmerk's really powerful. It's just not necessarily what you want to be doing in standard right now when people are playing these really efficient blue-red Corey decks, which I believe day 2 of RC Hartford was 40% of the meta.
Yeah,
so you
crazy,
do kind of need to be ready for that. And in this particular deck, I've played a lot of Fear of Missing Out across a lot of formats. In this particular deck, it smelt. It absolutely stunk, and it was the worst draw at all times.
Yeah, maybe it's a set away. Final Fantasy on the horizon. There's some great pieces for just playing tempo and playing with Rakdos removal. Let's keep an eye on that, and we'll be following up on the channel with some looks at the spoilers shortly, and how they are going to affect some of our favorite formats. Standard for me, and of course modern for 11Zs. Scott, any final words about this game before we sign off?
Yeah, I'm cutting all the expensive cards, and when I say expensive, I mean greater than 2 mana, slamming Dark Confidant in this and trying to play it with nothing but 1-drops and Corey Steel cards.
We'll love to see it. We'll have that on the channel once Final Fantasy releases. Is there any other decks you'd like to see, including some of the new cards? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.